Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. 888-589-8840 is the number to call if you want to join us in the last half hour. 888-589-8840. Here's that story I was telling you about on The Blaze. Gun-carrying Arizona man helps nab a bank robber. All he had to do was show the suspect he was armed. That's all it took. Just the show of a gun. Didn't have to pull it. Didn't have to rack the slide. Didn't have to point it. Didn't have to fire it. Just showing the bad guy a gun stopped him in his tracks. He held him there, detained him there until the cops came. And he said this is a great deal. He said carrying a firearm is the responsibility of able-bodied, law-abiding men. Quote, I think it's important if you're a male with a clean record to protect your community. You should be ready to do something like this if possible. Could not possibly agree with him more. You know, it's interesting. You look at this Fast and Furious deal, and, you know, they found a Fast and Furious gun at the shootout site where 5 people died, including a beauty queen in Mexico, and they found a Fast and Furious gun at the site. This was a Romanian AK-47 type. This is one of the ones that Eric Holder's Department of Justice made sure got sold in America and shipped across the border to the drug cartels. More than 2,000 weapons under Fast and Furious fell into the hands of drug cartels, and they don't have any idea where most of those weapons went. 1,500 to 1,800 of them completely unaccounted for. They just turn up at these crime sites. That's how they find it. And this particular rifle was purchased by a guy by the name of Uriel Patino, who allegedly bought more than 700 weapons under the watch of Eric Holder and the ATF. I mean, this was all done on purpose. So they tell us here in America, we want to get guns off the street. Guns are bad. Got to keep them off the streets. Got to keep them out of the hands of everybody. And meanwhile, they are flooding the streets of Mexico with guns, even some 50 caliber guns they sent across the border. And this Patino guy bought this particular rifle and 9 other semi-automatic rifles at an Arizona gun shop on May 16. So they were just pumping these things into the streets of Mexico. Now, just to close the loop on the assault weapons gun ban, I've got a piece here from Pajamas Media, PJ Media, by Bob Owens, and he has a picture of 2 weapons, one of which is illegal because it has a bit of metal under the front sight to which a bayonet could be attached, and a small vented tube on the end of the barrel that redirects unburned gases. So that makes it illegal. You take those two things off, and it becomes legal. It's the same gun, came off the same assembly line, fires exactly the same ammunition, and uses the same magazines. One of them legal because of these cosmetic things, the other illegal. And what Owens said is that this assault weapons ban in 1994 completely backfired. In other words, when they imposed this assault weapon ban, most people didn't even know about these guns, these military-style looking guns. Didn't even know they existed. All of a sudden, they're being banned. So everybody looks at them and says, whoa, man, that's cool. I didn't even know those guns existed. And they go out and start buying them. And the makers start ramping up assembly lines, and they just crank these things out by the boatload. So by the time the ban went into effect, you had way more of these so-called assault weapons. They're just hunting rifles, just cosmetically modified to look like military weapons. You had more of those in circulation than you ever would have had if they hadn't tried to ban them in the first place. Same deal with these high-capacity magazines, which are useless. I mean, it's pointless because if you ban the 30-round magazines, then somebody's going to take 3 10-round clips with them. I mean, it's just absurd. You can swap out a clip in a matter of 1 or 2 seconds. Same thing happened with these high-capacity clips. Once people heard they were going to be banned, and these things have an enormous shelf life, they're virtually indestructible. They last forever. So when the ban was announced, before it went into effect, I mean, the manufacturers were pumping these things out like crazy. They were being sold. The sale of these things was not banned, so people could still buy them. And once the internet started kicking and people were just buying these things like crazy, so you had more of these high-capacity magazines than you would have had if they never tried to ban them in the first place. Now let's shift gears. I want to